Hey everybody, just a quick video here on this new sander that I picked up from, it's this mini belt sander from Aliexpress. I think it was less than $30 shipped. It's a nice little unit. I really kind of used it for a bunch of miscellaneous things. But I have a kind of an idea about using it with Hot Wheels cars and or just die-cast cars in general. And just wanted to go over it real quick and see what people think. Offer my opinion on the base unit and what I have intended it for, and look for some ideas if you're so inclined to throw me some comments. So I think the belt width is 300 millimeters. Yeah, and the length is standard, maybe that's 300 millimeters by 30. Yeah, so it's 300 millimeters long by 30 millimeters wide. It comes with 10 belts or so, depending upon the unit that you purchase and the vendor you get it from. Varying grades of grit on the belt. Pretty versatile. It has a forward and reverse button so that you can drive the belt one way or the other, depending upon your need. Connection in the back. Has a 5mm shaft on both ends. This one has a guard over it, but the guard is removable, and you can attach a sanding disc or a buffing wheel on that. So that makes it pretty handy in case you just needed a quick little buffer. The unit can do that for you. It has a connection for a guard that comes across at the top. I have taken it off for the purpose of this demonstration. Just as well, so that you know, I've also modified this attachment point for the rear roller to the opposite side. The attachment point was on this side, on the inside, but I found that for my testing purposes, it rubbed, the screws rubbed on the belt, and I had to make an adjustment for myself. But it will come with it the other way. It's not an issue. The nice part about this power supply that's included in this particular unit is it is a multiple output supply from 12 to 24 volts. So you can change the speed of the belt based on the switch on the side position here with a little LED indicator, which is very nice. So this, I found this particular barrel connector, which I believe is a 5mm, but don't hold me to it, is actually used on a bunch of different things. So that power supply is quite useful, and since it is adjustable, then you can use for anything that will accept that barrel connector. So it's quite nice. Overall, I'm pleased with the unit itself, and I just want to take a second to show you the actual thought I had about this unit in die-cast cars. So I went ahead and used my printer to print this containment, and it fits on this platform with a couple of doors, front and rear. I'm going to go ahead and put it on here. So anyways, this also shows you how to adjust the belt. You just move the belt forward, the belt will slide off, and you can change it at your will, but this slides under here for me. Sits on that platform, still rides below the level of the belt, sits in place, and I made a door for either end, and actually I made it so that you can double it up on one side or the other if you want to. So if you notice, the belt itself is inclined from low to high. That is not adjustable, that is a fixed level, only driven, the angle is only driven by the tension of the belt across that. There's no adjustability to raise this up, otherwise your belt's too short. So simple. But for my purposes, when I attach that unit on there, I can slide my cars in here, and that will allow the car to run along the belt. And since this belt has almost no grit left, it started off as a 600. Since it has almost no grit left, the wheels won't be affected. Initially they were, and it did actually a really nice job. You can see that, a really nice job of sanding the wheels uniformly for all 4 wheels. So that worked out pretty well. This little Mercedes-Benz is my test subject, so he's taken quite a bit more sanding than he might have if you were just sanding to use that to even out the wheels for a race. But because I use this as my test wheels, these wheels are sacrificed for the testing purposes. So if you put the car in the holder, place a door at both ends, and plug it in. This is at the lowest speed. Drive it one direction or the other. This is with the belt going forward. This is with the belt in reverse. So with the belt going forward, the car sits in there. I haven't attached this permanently. My thought was to use a little double-sided sticky tape to hold it in place when it's there for that purpose, and then be able to remove it when I'm done. My thought on this is that I recall the Hot Wheels tune-up tower having a belt that was supposed to be able to tell you whether or not the car was tuned as they say, based on its forward movement with the rotation of the belt, as the back pressure was held against a gauge, and as the unit had better movement, as your car had better movement, the gauge would move. If it had less movement, the gauge would show that it wasn't that great, as well as being able to go left and right based on a lever arm that would also hold a different gauge, so that if it was engaging left and right, you could adjust the wheels and all of that. So I thought, hey, that's a pretty cool thought process. Whether it was particularly useful for determining the capability of a vehicle, one of these diecast cars, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe you guys with some experience. I remember having one as a kid, but to be quite honest with you, it broke soon after my brother and I got it. So ended up being less than functional for that purpose. But the point being is that there was some thought put behind it to see if that would work. And I have seen diecast cars on racing on belts, and I know that as the speed goes forward, the good cars will move to the front of the belt, and the cars that aren't that great will turn and obviously get sucked back to the end and thrown off. So anyways, there's my thought. With the speed at the lowest and the belt driving in the forward direction, the car will attempt to move forward. Now this is an inclined plane, so the car really has to have a lot of forward speed, and if I were to turn the speed up on the motor, I can get that car to take off and really fly. So you need the door in front to keep it from rolling off the edge of the belt. So I'm going to go ahead and put it up to, let's say, 16, and you'll notice the change in the speed, as well as the change in the vehicle. And if I use my hand to center this so that the car is taken care of, the wheels roll pretty nice. And since it's not sanding them now because the sandpaper is dull, the car is actually moving forward and back on the belt. Use the back door to keep it from flying off, and the front door holds it mostly on the belt, and if it goes a little too far, it will sail off the edge. So what does that tell me about how good this thing rolls? I don't know. I'm not capable in that space, but my thought is it tells me that it's a pretty good roller, and since it's relatively smooth when it's lying on the belt, those wheels, maybe they're pretty good. I don't know. I don't hear any issue. I don't see any crazy, but so far I've only tested this one car. I haven't taken a bunch of cars and run them through this, and I will at some point. And if you're interested, I'll make another video showing maybe some different cars and their capabilities versus this car, and see if that's capable of doing what I hope it does. So anyways, if you have any comments or suggestions on maybe the capability of doing using this device for this purpose, I'd be really interested in hearing it. Since I haven't really seen anybody else try this, generally when I go on these little side tangent projects, it's not necessarily because someone hasn't tried it, it's because maybe somebody did try it and saw that it wasn't, it had no purpose. But again, it's an experiment, and I think the unit is very nice, and I will use it to sand the bottoms of chassis and do other sanding, since it sits on my work table quite nicely, and it's a very small footprint. So again, it's a nice unit, it's quite capable, can do many things, and I'm hoping I can come up with a way to make this tell me whether or not my car is reasonable without having to run it down a test track. So anyways, thanks for watching. Comments are appreciated. Appreciate your time.